name is Kim, and I am the dyer behind Driftwood Farms Yarn and Candle. My daughter and I have a yarn shop, and I thought it would be good to have a little podcast. Show you some of our yarn, show you what we're working on, show you some of our candles, and just have a chat with everybody out there, see what you all are doing. We have a really active knit group at the shop. They are very loyal. They come every Thursday night without fail. And this month, because we're all knitting shawlography, they're coming on Saturday mornings too. Now, I gotta say, knitting shawlography with all of our knit group has been a blast. There are parts of shawlography we all really just don't care for. I mean, all the I-cord, but it's been really fun to knit it with everybody. And I love the shawl. It's really busy. It's so far out of my comfort zone. Oh my gosh. It is so far out of anything that I've ever done, but yet it is so much fun. I cannot tell you how much fun we're having. We laugh a lot, and we do the other stuff a lot too. So yeah, but I've knit all my life. I mean, I knit since I was 7, maybe. My grandma taught me. And then in school, I think it was 4th grade, Kathy from Knit Night and I were just talking about this. I think it was 4th grade. There was a teacher who wanted to teach kids to knit, and she taught us to knit slippers. I wish I still had those slippers. That would be so much fun to be able to look at those slippers today. They were knit out of worsted weight acrylic, held double. I knit mine, fluorescent pink and purple. Perfect girl colors when you're in the 4th grade in the 70s, right? So yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, so much fun to learn how to knit those slippers. And not strangely really, but there were boys in the class and girls in the class, and nobody thought boys shouldn't be in the class. It was really fun. It really was. We learned a lot. And so I learned very young a love for knitting. Now, when I was a teenager, because I liked to make blankets, I crocheted mostly. I think I thought I got a little bit more bang for the buck. It was a little more, it was more instant gratification, I guess. And so I crocheted a lot. And then as I got into my 20s, I had babies and things were busy. I knit a lot. My first daughter, I knit voraciously during her nap time. My neighbor knit, and she crocheted all the time. And so she would help me, and I knit a sweater, and I lived in Alaska, so that was really, I knit it with this stuff called Unger Fluffy, and I can't tell you for sure, but I believe it must have had some mohair or something in it, because it was really fluffy and pretty and gorgeous. I knit it this beautiful rust color. I am obsessed with rust now. I don't know what it is, but orange is such a hard sell in the shop. I mean, it really is. Orange is a hard sell, but yet I keep dyeing these orangey, rusty yarns because I'm just obsessed with them. And yes, they are in my shawlography. We got new furniture, and there's this splash of rust in the rug that we got with the new furniture. Oh, I love it. And there's also kind of there's a true green and kind of a khaki green, a beautiful rug. And I just want to make a sweater out of the colors in this rug. I should show it to you. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll put a picture in. I don't know. Anyway, we were just looking for community. I'm curious what you're all doing. I belong to a lot of groups on Facebook where people are knitting, and it's really fun the interaction there is really fun. And I thought, what the heck? I mean, wouldn't it be fun to see what everybody's knitting on? And if anybody else is tearing out their brioche and shellography, if you are, let me know in the comments down below, because I would really like to know. I love brioche, don't get me wrong. I don't want to tear out these 2 rows. I really, really don't. But I'm going to, because it has to be done. Enough about tearing out brioche. Anyhow, I thought I would talk to you a little bit about what I'm knitting and what I'm burning in the house, because we are a candle shop and we have great candles. And I'd like to know what you're doing too. So let me know. I'll start with what I'm burning in the house. It's not burning right now because I want to show it to you. This is a bowl candle. Oh, it's so good. This one is coconut bourbon. It doesn't really smell like if you opened a bottle of bourbon, but it does kind of. I mean, and that coconut, it's a 3-wick candle, and it looks so pretty burning in the house in the evenings. It really, really does, and it smells so good. We have people that buy our candles and just that live like in RVs. We sell these little 4-ounce candle tins, and they take them home and open them up and just leave them sit, and they don't even burn them because they smell so good. And in a small space, it scents everything. So yeah, those are our bowl candles. They're really pretty and they smell so good. And I just asked Jess to make me a peppermint mocha one, because who doesn't love peppermint mocha in the winter? It is a Monday afternoon on the southern Oregon coast, and the wind is blowing and it's raining and it's quite blustery outside. And I've got a soup on the stove. And hey, yeah, what are you guys making for dinner? It seems to be a common thing. We have a lot of people in the knit group that like to cook, so that's good for me, and I like to cook too, and so does Jess, my daughter. So it's really good. We share a lot of recipes down there, or share a lot of ideas. So what are you making for dinner? Anything good? I got taco soup on. It's a nice hearty soup for a blustery Oregon coast fall day. Yeah. It is a beautiful, beautiful place that we live. I gotta tell you, I grew up here on the Oregon coast, on the southern Oregon coast, with the beach about 2 miles from my front door. And when I was a kid, I spent many, many, many hours on the beach. I don't go down there as much now. They were making you pay to park down there, which irked everybody that lived here, that you had to park to go to a beach, a public beach, but you don't have to anymore. So that's good. But I just don't go down there as much anymore. I think as a kid, you just sort of, if you want to go to the beach, you go to the beach. As an adult, you think about all the other things that you really should be doing besides going to the beach. But I can hear it on days like today. If it's really quiet in the house, the ocean is, I don't know, as the crow flies, I'm not sure it's 2 miles from my door. And you can hear, especially at night, you can hear the waves just crash, the surf crash. It is, I love the ocean. I spent a lot of time on the ocean with my dad when I was a kid. He had a commercial fishing boat, and oh my gosh, I love the ocean. It's pure peace and joy for me. I love the ocean. So blessed to live by it. We used to we actually raised our kids about, I don't know, 70 miles from here, maybe not quite that far, up in the mountains. And we lived right by the river there. And so I hated leaving there. We lived on 425 acres of leased pasture land. And so you'd hear the cows, and there was bluffs in the back of us, and you hear the coyotes, and we had ducks and geese and chickens and goats, and we had a big garden, and it was the life I loved to live. But you still have to make a living, and when I was driving 50 miles a day to work, and my husband was driving a little bit farther, it was just didn't work out. We had to leave. And so back to the beach we came, and here we've been for the last 20 years. I can't believe it's been 20 years since we moved. Where does the time go, you guys? Where's it go? Oh my goodness. I digress. I am really good at going down the rabbit trail. So this is, believe it or not, a knitting podcast. So I will get to the knitting. Shall we start with socks? What are you guys knitting? Do you guys knit socks? I have socks on the needles all of the time. I always have socks on the needles. Where'd my other socks go? Where did I put them? Oh, they're there. I always have socks on the needles. Always. It's just a thing for me. If I'm knitting something, say shawlography, and I need something to just calm me down and mindless, I can watch a movie and my hands can do whatever they want to do. Socks. My actual palette cleanser during shawlography has been a sweater for my great-granddaughter, Eleanor, and I'll show you that too. But so socks. Driftwood Farms Yarn and Candle is going to have a line of self-striping yarn. And I have someone that's actually warping the yarn for me. So Shelby, you are a lifesaver and I love you, and I'm ordering the yarn soon. But this is one of the first self-striping that I did. It was just kind of a test to see how to go about it, because dye stocks are really different, because you sort of dye these things one at a time so they don't get all tangled up, because it's a lot of loose yarn to dye self-striping yarn, or at least the only way I figured out how to do it is. And so she's warping yarn for me, and I love her for that, really, truly. Her husband, I sent her this wonky warping board, and she took it and showed it to her husband, and he made the most beautiful warping board I've ever seen. I wish I had it here to show you. It is gorgeous. She is so lucky to have someone in her life that can do that kind of stuff, because man, oh man, that thing is beautiful. Anyway, these socks, this is the first self-striping yarn that I've made, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. I like it. I think it's really fun and pretty, and I like that it's just the stripes are kind of all one size, almost like a fleechy yarn. But I'm going to do some other stuff too with self-striping and with some gradient, I hope. I just have to order the yarn. Shelby's all ready for me. Now I just got to get the yarn to her. But anyway, this is just a sock pattern. It's my basic socks. I have a pattern when I teach people how to knit socks. This is it. This is the pattern we use, except we do a heel flap and gusset. This is an Afterthought heel. So an Afterthought heel, I don't know about you, but I always put in a piece of waste yarn, because I have this thing about cutting my yarn. Now, I really, on my bucket list of things to do is a steek. I really do want to do a steek. I haven't done that yet. But Afterthought heels are not my favorite heel in the whole wide world to put in. But when you're using a self-striping yarn, they are the best heel, without a doubt, because you can maintain your stripe and you don't lose your striping pattern down your sock by putting in a heel flap and gusset or a short row heel or anything like that. So really, for self-striping yarn, you can't beat a Afterthought heel. And you can put this heel in any stripe you want, because you can just, you know, you can start the heel any color you want, because you can just strip off yarn until you get to the color you want and then start your heel. So I think they're fun. And a self-striping yarn and a self-striping sock, I always use an Afterthought heel. That's just me. So self-striping yarns are coming to Drifted Farms Yarn and Candle. Hopefully. I've been saying that since COVID started. When COVID started, I got this great idea. I'm going to make self-striping yarn while I'm sitting around here at home. I did. I made 2 of them. Actually made 4 of them. 2 of them I felt were successful. The other 2, I don't like so much. I really learned a lot dyeing self-striping yarn. So I think I'm ready. I'm ready to go now. And then this is another little basic sock that I made. Heel flap and gusset. Now, if I'm going to wear socks, though I think the Fish Lips Kiss heel is really pretty, and you can kind of alter it so that it fits your foot really good. A heel flap and gusset is really, I think it's the strongest heel that you can put in a sock. I think for most people it fits the best. This is just a vanilla sock. This is the pattern. I have a pattern called Basic Socks, and this is the pattern that I use to teach. Sorry, I've got hair right there. It's driving me crazy. This is the pattern I use to teach sock making. Just a basic vanilla sock. When I teach sock making, I teach it in, I think we do 5 classes. It's pre-COVID was the last time I taught sock knitting. We do the cuff, we do the leg, then we do the heel flap and gusset, and the heel turn. Then we do the instep, the foot, and then we come back and do the toe. And I think it's important when you're learning how to make socks that you learn the anatomy of a sock. And so that's what our class is called, the anatomy of the sock, and how to turn the sock so that it goes from your leg down your foot. So yeah, basic socks, they're always fun. I love to teach sock knitting. Many people have asked me, will you make me a pair of socks? If it's my grandchildren, I always say yes. If it's anybody else, I say no. Because there's a lot that goes into sock making. It doesn't just take a minute to make a pair of socks. And so I'd love to teach people how to make socks, but I don't knit socks for you. I just don't do it. I don't know, maybe that sounds terrible. We do a festival in Roseburg every year. We haven't for a little bit because of COVID. Everything's because of COVID. But we do have one lady that buys socks for me once a year. And she happily pays a pretty penny to do it because she likes both socks. So I usually try and have a pair of socks for her when we do our festival, so she can have a pair of socks. She's a really sweet lady. I really, really like her. And she appreciates a good pair of hand knit socks. So earlier this year, we at the shop did a subscription box. It was just 3 months long. And you got in each box, you got a skein of yarn, sometimes a mini, and we had a special cute little stitch marker that went in the box. There was a rubber ducky and a raincoat and a rubber boots. It was called the Summer Rain Sock Box. And if you live in Oregon, you know that summer rains used to come a lot. They don't come as much as they used to, but they do come a lot. And so I did 3 sock patterns, and I have 2 of them here. I can't find the sample for my first one, probably because I made 2 of them in 2 different yarns, and I've got them stashed somewhere so I can finish making the pair. Yes. Do you do that? I usually don't get second sock syndrome. I love to knit. I love the process. I love to knit socks. I never get second sock syndrome. But for some reason, because I made 2 in a different yarn, I made one in a tonal yarn and one in a variegated yarn, I haven't made the pair. I haven't made the second one. So they're stashed in a cubby in the shop someplace. I need to find them. But these were the second sock, the second pattern that came out. The first one was called Puddle Jumping Socks, and they look like a little, all over them look like a little raindrop or a little splash coming up. They were fun. The second one is called Singing in the Rain Socks. Who doesn't love Gene Kelly? Ginger Rogers. And I made these, they've got this pretty, I don't know if you can see it. They've got this pretty little cable thing, that lace cable thing that goes all the way down the front to the toe. There it is. And these are called Singing in the Rain Socks. And I think they're really pretty. I really like them. These do have a German turtle heel. This is the same sock. I was making another. I'm re-knitting all of them because I want to make sure before the pattern went out in the subscription box, but before I put it out to the whole world on Ravelry and on our website, I want to make sure that there's not any mistake in the pattern. So I'm re-knitting all of them, and this is in a tonal blue. So those are Singing in the Rain socks. They're a fun little knit, and the cable is a really easy repeat. It wouldn't be hard to repeat it. You know, it's not hard to memorize, so you can repeat it really easy, and you can knit them really easy. I think that one's got a 2x2 rib on it. I think in the pattern, I can't remember for sure, but I think I gave you the option of a twisted rib. You could knit it with a twisted rib. I think I gave you both options. Let's talk about twisted rib. I'm not sure, really. I'm not sure if this is the third sock. This is the Rainwater Sock. And there's a right and a left sock, and down the side of the foot, it's got this lacy cable coming down. So I wrote the pattern so that you can knit a right and a left sock. So you have mirrored socks rather than a cable on one side of your foot and then a cable on the same side of your foot on the other sock. So it's got a right and left sock. It does have a German short row heel. You could throw in any heel that you wanted. This one has a twisted rib. Twisted rib. I'm not sure if a twisted rib is any more efficient or any less efficient than a 2x2 or a 1x1 rib. I actually probably, when I'm wearing socks, probably prefer just a 2x2 rib. I think it looks better. Twisted rib is pretty, and I think it's important to learn new things, how to do different things. And so I threw in the twisted rib. Most of the people that I know that bought the sock box are pretty proficient knitters. So they could throw out a twisted rib, no problem. I will say this, when I'm making twisted rib on a sock, and I'm going to show you some other twisted rib in just a second. Oh my gosh, my stomach is growling, you guys. Jeez. Sorry about that. When I do a twisted rib on a sock, I only twist the knit stitch. I don't twist the purl stitch. So when you do it, when you knit it, you knit one through the back loop and then you purl. Then you knit one through the back loop and you purl. If you're doing a true twisted rib, you should twist the purl stitch. I don't, you still get the effect of the ribbing on top. You still get that pretty twisted ribbing effect, but I don't do twisted rib if I don't have to. Or I don't twist the purl stitch if I don't have to. I'll show you a sweater. I was gonna put this sweater on, but it is so warm in my house right now because it is a blustery day outside and I have had the fire going. It was too hot. I was sweating and spritzing and glistening, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do it. This is it's so pretty. It's so pretty. This is my Salem Sweater by Hoard Designs, or Tristan Molina at Hoard Designs. I got to show you the sleeve, you guys. This is look at that. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It goes all the way down the sleeve. Look at that beautiful, beautiful cable. Oh my gosh. I saw people make this and they left the bobbles out, and I thought, I test knit this. And so because I test knit it, I thought it was really important to just knit the pattern. And so I knit the bobbles. But if I do it again, I'm knitting the bobbles. They just are gorgeous down the sleeve of this sweater. So pretty. This sweater is knit with, it's knit 2 yarns held together, a fingering weight and a lace weight. In the pattern, it was mohair. I knit it with Surrey alpaca. Curious, Surrey is more dense than mohair. So soft. Surrey's more dense than mohair, and so this sweater is heavy. I mean, I can't remember if there's 4 or 5 skeins of yarn in it. 8 or 10. I can't remember. It has a twisted rib collar. And I like mine held double. I like mine folded over. That's not the pattern. I did that for me because if I'm going to wear this sweater, I want it folded over. I think maybe when I did that, it caused this to bunch up a little bit. So I think if I knit it again, and I will knit it again because it's a beautiful, beautiful sweater. I think if I knit it again, I'm going to put in a couple short rows right here just to kind of make it so that, and it's got dolman sleeves. I'm sorry, I'm everywhere. It's got dolman sleeves. So it's this pretty boxy sweater and it's got dolman sleeves, and which I really like, but that causes this bunching right here when I wear it. And I think if I just put in a couple short rows right here and lengthen this out just a tiny bit, it won't do that. So that's what I'm going to do when I knit it again. When I test knit this, there were, I don't know, 15 or 20 people testing it. And they were all using these beautiful, beautiful variegated yarns. Many by Tristan. And, I was just going to dye some yarn to knit this sweater, and as I was getting out yarn to dye, I had all this beautiful white Surrey and undyed white Surrey. It's kind of creamy colored, and undyed, I think I used MCN, Merino Cashmere. And I thought, why not? Why not make a white sweater? So I did. And mine looked so funny when I was knitting it compared to all of those beautiful, beautiful, beautiful variegated sweaters. But I'm glad I did it, and I would do it again. So there's lots of twisted rib in this pretty little thing here. But it has, okay, so there's some things about this sweater that are really cool. Down the side of it, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but down the side of it, there's a slip stitch down the center, or down the side. Can I don't know. There it is. There it is. Kind of. There's this beautiful slip stitch. So you get almost like a little faux seam, which is kind of a really pretty little detail. And then on the bottom, there's a split hem. So it's a little bit shorter in the front, longer in the back, which is a really nice design detail. It's all twisted rib, and it's all twisted. So the purl stitches are twisted, the knit stitches are twisted. It's all twisted. I think it took me longer to knit this ribbing than it did to knit the last 4 inches of the sweater. I'm not kidding. This took a day and a half. It took forever. I would do it again because it's such a pretty design on the sweater. I would do it again. Tristan really seems to like twisted rib. I would do it again because it really is pretty. It adds a lot to the sweater. I would do it again. And I think, if I remember right, I think I did a sewn bind off on this just to get the nice stretch and the opening on the ribbing. So that's my Salem Sweater by Tristan Molina at Dragon Hoard Designs. It's a beautiful sweater. It is hot. Oh, a little secret about this sweater. So I told you I used MCN and Surrey alpaca to knit the sweater. And Surrey is more dense than mohair. I think the pattern actually calls for mohair, but I wanted to knit with the Surrey because I hadn't done it yet, and I needed a sample for the shop. So I knit with the Surrey. I ran out of undyed Surrey, and rather than waiting to order more from the mill, I used mohair, and the last probably inch of the sweater, and in all the ribbing and in the cuffs on the sleeves, I just used mohair instead of Surrey. Mohair has a little bit longer hair. Can you see that hair? Yeah, the pretty halo. Isn't that gorgeous? It just feels, it just seems like such an homage to the animal to be able to show that to me. I mean, I'm one of those people that really does love the animal. So to be able to show them off in such a pretty way means a lot to me. But this is mohair. That's mohair. The actual sweater itself, and I don't know if you can see it, kind of, is Surrey alpaca, and it's got just a little bit shorter staple, shorter hair length, because it is more dense. And I don't know, I knit with a lot of Surrey, and I knit with a lot, for winter knitting, I use a lot of Surrey, and I use a lot of alpaca, mohair. And I really think that when you add the mohair or the Surrey in to whatever it is you're knitting, I really do believe that it's a lot warmer, a lot more warm than if you just didn't. If you just knit straight up and you didn't add it in. I really do think it's a lot it's a lot more warm. So I use it a lot, and I love the halo. I do. I love that you can see the hair. We are knitting with animals, and it's really fun to, with animal hair. And so it's really fun to be able to see that piece of it when you're knitting, I think. So yeah, I would knit that sweater again. It's really beautiful. This is my little sweater that I'm knitting for my great granddaughter. And I have to look at the pattern and see what it's called because I can't remember. It is called, speaking of mohair, it is called the Latte Baby Coat. And it is by Lisa. I don't have my glasses on. Oh, I want to say her name right. Hang on a sec. I gotta grab my glasses. So sorry. So sorry, Lisa. That wasn't very nice of me. It is by Lisa Cheney. It looks like Chen. Oh, Chemery. Chemery. And I got it on Ravelry. I believe this was a free pattern. I think it was a free pattern. I made it a long time ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I made it as a gift for a friend of mine who was having grandbaby. She the way that I did it then, it's supposed to be a worsted weight yarn. And so the way that I did it then is I had I believe I had a DK and a fingering weight. They were commercial yarns, acrylic all the way. And what I did was I had one main color that went through the sweater. And then I did like 8 or 10 rows of variegated, and I used different variegated. So you kind of got a stripe on the sweater, but it still had a main color going all the way through it, and held double like that. It gave me the worsted weight. This I am knitting with also a commercial yarn, but this is a Kinsey, and it has, this has Angora in it. It's Merino, Angora, and Alpaca. And it just comes in these little tiny, we sell this at the shop, make a lot of hats and stuff out of it. But I thought I'd make a sweater out of it. And it's also, I'm holding it double with a mohair. This one was called Truffle Shuffle. It's kind of a chestnutty brown. And this is a mohair. So I'm holding the yarns double, and this is the little sweater, and it's got a little hood on it, and then it's got a little garter ridge on the bottom. I just have to do the sleeves, and then the whole thing from the button band all around the hood and back down the other button band it's a basket weave button band, and I think it's like a 5-strand basket weave kind of thing, and it is so pretty. I really like it. This sweater comes with 2 different ways to do the hood. You can do the sweater with or without the hood. I chose to do it with the hood. We do live in Oregon, and the baby's up in Portland, so it snows up there sometimes, but so I decided to do it with the hood so Isa could cover her little head if she needs to. My sweet little Eleanor Louise. I love you so much, sweet baby. Anyway, so I'm excited to get the basket weaving going. I'm not so excited to do sleeves, but they just, in this weight, this is a DK weight and mohair weight. So see that pretty halo on there? Love it. And so this makes a worsted weight. I used a size 10 needle on this. I used a Knitter's Pride Mindful set to knit this. And I think it's a size 10. And then the basket weave is done in a 10.5. So I'm excited to do that. This pattern comes with a seamless hood. If you want to do a seamless hood, I just did like a 3 needle bind off here. You could Kitchener it, I think. I probably should have Kitchenered it, but I was being lazy. I don't mind Kitchener stitch or whatever it is they call it now. I think they changed the name of it. But yeah. So I'm excited to get the sleeves done. The sleeves also have this little garter ridge on them. I thought about doing a regular ribbing here, but I think with the basket weave it would have pulled it a little bit, so I'm stuck with the pattern. I also think no matter what, because there is a version that's got a hood and a version that doesn't have a hood, I also think this is knit seamlessly from, you knit the hood and then you knit the body, and it's all knit together. So there's no like seaming at the hood or picking up stitches or any of that. So I think if I did it again, when I get to the part where the hood's done and you do these you do a bunch of stitches where you just knit 2 together to get a little place here, a turning place for the hood. I think I would just put in a purl round just so that it lays easier. I'll have to see. When I get it done, I'll have to see what I think, because I'm just not sure. I don't know. I haven't decided yet what I think about it. But I think if there's a purl round in there, it'll flop back over easier, I think. I don't know for sure, but I think it will. Anyway, this is Eleanor's sweater, the Latte baby coat. Look at this cute bag. Isn't that cute? Little lemons and peaches, and I would like to tell you the bag maker, but I don't remember her name. We do a lot of the same festivals together. She sells her bags. Oh, look at this little notion pouch too. Isn't that cute? She sells her bags, and we sell our yarn and candles, and that's where I meet up with her all the time. I'll have to get her card. I thought I had her card, but I couldn't find it this morning. So I'll have to meet up with her. Hopefully at the Christmas festival. That's usually where we meet up, and try and get her name so I can let you know, because she sells beautiful bags. She's a teacher. That's what she does for a living. She's a teacher. And so sometimes she doesn't have a lot of extra time to make bags, but she makes beautiful ones. This one is lined with a vinyl, so they're not necessarily project bags. They're perfect for project bags, but you could like use it as a makeup bag or anything. They're really nice. Okay, last thing that I'm going to talk to you guys about, and then I'm going to be done, and you guys are probably glad, because it's gone on for a little longer than I thought. I think it was in 2017, and I can't, now that I say that, it doesn't sound right, but I'm pretty sure that's when it was. 2017, Hohi Locatelli did an MCAL, and it was called Starting Point. And so, if I remember right, there were over 5,000 women and men on the Ravelry group that were knitting this thing. And I was a pretty proficient knitter in 2017. I had not done an MCAL. I was pretty new to the world of internet knitting. You know, the mystery knit-alongs, and I'd just been on an island all by myself for so long that I hadn't, really got into internet knitting. And so I really wanted to do this mystery knit-along. It just intrigued me, and I thought, what the heck? I'll buy the yarn and I'll do it. So I bought $125 worth of yarn. That was a lot of money. And I bought hand-dyed yarn then, but only one skein at a time, maybe once every 6 months. I'd never put in $125 to do anything. I just had not. But I did to do this because I was really excited to do it. I thought it would be really fun. And I really thought it would make me feel a part of something. So I just set out to knit Starting Point. I got my yarn. I got it all caked up. I took pictures of it. I put it on the Ravelry group. I did all of that. And then I started knitting it. And I would look at the Ravelry group 5 minutes after the clue came out, and there were already people done with it. I mean, maybe not 5 minutes, but not very long. And I started feeling really insecure. Oh my gosh, I thought I was a better knitter than this. Is there something wrong with my knitting? Is there something wrong with me? Am I really that slow? Now, I'm not a fast knitter. I can knit really fast if I have to, but I don't want to. I don't like it. I don't like to just scream through a project. I just don't feel like I get a good quality knit, and it makes me anxious. I have a pace that I go that I love, and I get a nice fabric, and I'm good with that. But then it made me feel like I was like, I don't know, not doing very good. And so I quit knitting it. I mean, I felt totally defeated. By the third clue, I was so far behind. I'd messed up one of my lace passes and I had to take it out, and I still had a life I was living and things I was doing, and I just felt totally defeated, completely defeated. And I felt bad about my life as a knitter and what I had to offer, and I just picked up a pair of socks, and decided, I got mohair in my mouth, sorry. So, yeah, I just quit. I mean, what the heck? Why bother? So when COVID happened and the shop had to close, we still had an online business, but our shop was closed. My happy place was closed. I was just, I was a little lost. Jazzy and I both were. I thought, you know what? I'm going to knit that shawl, that Starting Point shawl, because I'm not going to let it defeat me. I'm just not. That's not good. You know what, people? Knit at your own pace. Knit really well or knit really funky. I don't care. But if you knit because you love to knit, just knit. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry about all that stuff. Don't let that dictate you. And that's what I was doing, and I refuse to ever do that again. But so I knit the shawl, and the yarns that I knit into this shawl were almost the same yarns that I had bought originally. That was a 75-25, and I have feelings about 75-25. I usually don't care for it very much, but yeah. Anyway, this is a 85-15 merino nylon, one of my favorite yarns to use. And this is my Starting Point shawl. And I felt so accomplished when I finished this. I put my little tag on it that says Driftwood Farms. And then on the back, it's got our little tree. Isn't it cute? My favorite part of the shawl. Anyway, this is it. Look at that, you guys. I win. It did not defeat me. It did not defeat me. This thing goes on for miles. It's like 7 feet long. I told you I knit shawls that were as big as a blanket. I love this thing. So, Starting Point. If you haven't knit it or you haven't seen it, you knit 2 panels. This panel, like this, it comes to a point right here. And then you knit another panel that is exactly the same. It too comes to a point right here. And then the big part, sorry, car just drove by. The big part of the shawl was, how do we hook them together? How do they make a rectangle if you've got 2 points? Then this part came out, this genius little part that gives you this beautiful like X in the middle. Isn't that gorgeous? It's so pretty. And then you knit, you pick up stitches right along here, and you pick up stitches along here, and then you make this section here. And it was, you guys, I loved every stitch I knit in this thing. I even messed up the lace again, and I had to take it out. So what? Oh my gosh. I love this thing. Somebody wanted to buy it from me at the farmer's market the other day, and I just said no. I mean, they were willing to pay a lot of money for it, and I just said no. This one, I think, is put on this earth. I knit this to remind me that I'm good enough. Plain and simple. The way that I knit it, the way that I want to, I'm good enough. I do not have to compare myself to others. I am good enough. Starting point shawl. I love this thing. It's beautiful. And it's usually down at the shop. I usually have it somewhere where I can see it every day to remind me that I defeated that part of me that makes me feel like I'm less. That makes me feel like I'm not as good as. I defeated that by knitting this shawl, and it was a really good lesson for me, because I beat myself up a lot, and that's not good. It's not good. So I am so excited that I got this done. And then I thought, well, if I knit that one, she came out with a fading point shawl. And I thought, what can I learn from fading point that I didn't learn from starting point? And thank you, Joji Locatelli, for designing such beautiful shawls and giving me room to grow, I guess, is a really good way to put it. I'm not sure how else to put it, except I've grown and learned a lot. So I thought, what can I do to learn something new from this shawl? So I stepped clear about as far out of my color story as I could jump. I am a green and gray and blue and brown, and I'm the mute lady. So I jumped so far out of my color story to knit this. I'll show you my fade. I don't have one of the colors. I'll show it to you. I'll show you what we've got in the fade now at the shop. It's close, but not completely. So it goes like this. This is the fade. So this is the lightest color, the next one, and then the next one, and then this one. And those two look a lot alike unless they're really, really close together. If they're really, really close together, you can see that this one right here is lighter. And then it has this purple in it. I don't knit with purple, ever. I dye a lot of purple because people like purple. I mean, I like purple. I don't have anything against purple. I just don't knit with it because it's just not me. But this is the fade that I used. And then This is my fading point shawl. This is the best fade I've ever got, by the way. I've done a lot of fade knitting. I've never had one come out quite this good. This is the purple that I used in the shop. Somebody asked me if I could dye, is that the right side? Yeah. Somebody asked me if I could dye fluorescent purple for them. So I did the best I could do. It's a tonal, it's got some pink underneath. And then it's overdyed in all this purple. But this is my fade. Look at that. It's not a stripy fade, really. It's just one fading into the next, into the next, into the next. And oh my word. I was knitting this and I was going, I hate this. I hate this color. This is too much. And all the ladies at Knit Night were like, Kim, that's gorgeous. And I'm like, oh no, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. Look at this. So there's the point. And then there's where it X's, right? And then there's the little place that you pick up stitches and you get this. So there's my fade. And there's my X. And there's the other side. So yeah. There's that purple again that I would never ever pick up to knit for myself, but I did because I thought, I'm a yarn dyer, I need to knit. I need to knit with things that aren't usually what I would knit with. So I did. And I love it. And I stepped outside my box and I did something different, and it made me feel good to just do something different. I just can't tell you how good it made me feel. So I did it, and I'm really glad that I did. It's a real joy to be able to do something that makes you grow and makes you learn and keeps your brain hopping and makes you fresh. And so I'm excited. I'm excited that I did this, and I'm excited that I got to show it to you, and I'm just happy that that I'm allowing myself to do things that I wouldn't normally do. It makes me feel accomplished, and it makes me feel a little brave, and it makes me feel like I'm not stuck. And at this stage in my life, not being stuck is a really good thing. I've been an empty nester for a long time, but I'm not, well, I'm almost 60. I mean, just a couple months. I know. But that's okay, because I have so much. I mean, at 55, my daughter and I started this business. And I don't know what made me think that starting a business at 55 was a really smart thing to do. But I was sitting at home alone, hour after hour after hour, and it wasn't good for me. So I needed to find something to do. And I was knitting all the time. I had a lot of young grandchildren at the time, and I wanted to knit for them, but I would go to the store and everything was pastel pink, pastel yellow, baby blue, and mint green, or a variegation of pastel pink, pastel yellow, baby blue, and mint green. And there wasn't any fun yarns out there for little kids. There just weren't. I mean, you know, in that weight. And so much of what I was knitting then was based on, you know, a sport weight or a baby weight yarn. And I just couldn't find anything. And I thought, well, heck with this. I'll just dye some yarn. Everybody else is doing it. Why can't I? And so I talked to my daughter, and we bought just some mill yarn, nothing fancy. And we dyed it. And then we bought some good yarn and we dyed that. And it just, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And we started selling it, and we started doing the farmer's market. We started selling a whole bunch of it, and it just became so much fun. And here we are now. We have our own shop. We love it. And we have loyal customers, and we have people that just stop in. And I gotta say, thank you, people, for coming in the shop. We live in a little teeny tiny town on the southern Oregon coast that has been beat up by mills closing and jobs just going away. And so I don't care who you are, when you come in my shop, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. You're welcome there. Anybody's welcome there. Man, woman, I don't care. Don't care. However you identify yourself, you are welcome at my shop. My daughter and I love you, and we are happy you're there. Even if you can't find what you need, maybe you're looking for a different type of yarn, or maybe you've got a different kind of project going that I don't care. Come in, sit down on the couch, have a visit. Let us know what you're knitting on. Let us know what you're working on. We are thrilled you are there. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. You keep us going, and you remind us every day when you stop in the shop, whether you buy anything or not, that we're there for a reason. And so thank you for coming in. We really appreciate you. I guess that's it for my knitting. And I showed you my favorite candle right now. I'll show you some yarn if you like. We are doing shawlography in the shop. Most people are knitting it with a fingering weight. It is a fingering weight shawl with a fingering weight like A515 or an MCN. That's the biggest thing that we have available in the shop. Sorry for this noise. We have a couple kits in the shop. This one, if you can see it, is all a single ply. Some of it is a mohair, merino mohair, and some of it is a merino silk. And I think I may knit this. I may not knit it into a shawlography, but I am going to knit it into something. I really do love single ply yarns. I would make a sweater out of it. I would. Most people don't make a sweater out of a single ply yarn. It was kind of a thing for a while. Most people don't do it because it pills a little bit where it, your arms rub and stuff. But I would make a sweater out of it because I think it's pretty, but I wouldn't hesitate to make a shawl with it. I love single plies. These are some of my favorites, and I think they're my favorites. Aren't they pretty? Look at this. This one is called Wildflowers. Isn't that gorgeous? This is on our, what we call our seafaring base. Look at that. Look at that. And this is a 75% merino and 25% mulberry silk single ply yarn. This one is called Smoke on the Water. It's kind of a purpley color. And it looks almost marled the way that it took the dye. Isn't that pretty? And this one is called, this one's called Oregon Rainwater. Look at how it's funny. I mean, I wish I could show it to you. Oh, you can see my hair. Good. I wish I could show it to you in person, because when you open it up, it almost has like a green cast in it. It's hard to see here. but that's the way the silk takes the dye. Oh, it's just so gorgeous. And then this one is called Pepper, I think. Yeah. And it's just a really pretty gray. Isn't that gorgeous? These are some of my favorite yarns in the shop right now. They are a single ply, but I love them. They're gorgeous and they're fun to knit with. The only thing I don't like doing with them is caking them, because they jump the swift and they tangle up in the cake, and then you have to start over. They're hard to cake with my, now I think if I did them on my little swift and my stand fill at home, I think it'd be fine. But what we've got at the shop, we have like professional quality swift that has hardly any drag on it, and a really good caker, ball winder. I think that's why I think it just gets going, and then it jumps the swift, and that's no fun. And then some of the most popular yarns we've had in the shop lately are these. And I gotta say, I made some socks out of this. This is a merino yak nylon blend. This is a 70, is it a 70? Yeah, a 70% merino, 20% yak, 10% nylon base. This is called Muscovite. That's gold. I made a pair of socks out of this one because I just thought it was so pretty. When you get yak, you can get bleached yak. I got natural yak. So when you dye this, it's gray. It comes to you gray. And so you get almost like a marled effect. You can kind of almost see little bits of the gray in it. And it is so, so pretty and so fun to knit with. This one is called Santa Cecilia, and it's kind of a burgundy, purpley red. It's not quite as pink as it's showing up in the camera. And then this one is called Uba Tuba. This one is a brown, and you can just see, isn't that pretty? I just think it's gorgeous. Love it. And this one is what's this one called? Jadeites. This is a green. Pretty, pretty, pretty. We've sold a lot of this. It's great for making socks. It really is. It's really bouncy when you knit with it. I was really surprised how bouncy it is, because the thread is really, it is really small. The thread is in it is just, it's a really fine thread. But this is called our seaboard fingering. But the fabric that it makes, I made a pair of lace socks with it that I'm getting ready to, I've got 3 lace sock patterns that I'm going to put out in the spring. I think I'll have them ready by then. And they're shorty socks. So, but anyway, love that. Okay. Those are the most popular, besides, you know, the basic MCN, merino cashmere nylon, and 8515. These are the most popular yarns in the shop right now. I'm getting excited to knit with the tweeds, and I'll show you some of those next time. I love tweeds in the winter and in the fall. We have white nep tweed, we have colored nep tweed, we have brown, gray, black tweed. I love tweed, and I'm going to order some more, so we have some more in the shop. I love a good tweed hat. I love tweed. So I'll show you some of that next time. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me for this last hour. I know I kind of went on for a long time. But I really appreciate you being here. I hope you'll like and subscribe and come back and see what's happening next time. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're knitting on and what you think about your knitting. I had a really fun time today, and I'm excited, and I hope you guys will come back and see me again. So take care. Happy knitting, happy crochet, happy making, and I'll see you next time. Take care.